One of the most powerful talks on TED Talks of all times, was given a number of years ago by a lady called Brene Brown, a social scientist. And the name of the talk is The Power of Vulnerability. And indeed, very few things, if any, are more important than the expression of vulnerability in order to build human relationships. This must be distinguished from weaknesses, vulnerabilities when it comes to competition, where there is a victor and a loser. All of us know that in the army, vulnerability is a weakness. You're always looking to see the vulnerability. Indeed, all the intelligence agencies are trying to find the vulnerabilities and weaknesses of the enemy in order to overcome them. So too in sport, how much energy is invested in looking at previous tapes of our opposition in order to find exactly their weaknesses and develop a strategy to manipulate their vulnerability. So yes, vulnerabilities are weaknesses when it comes to win-lose situations of competition and of opposition. But it is exactly the opposite when it comes to human relationships and, of course, our relationship with Hashem. In any relationship, as we will do with Hashem, that we're trying to rebuild and recreate in the Yamin Noraim, a process of Teshuvah in Elul that we're preparing to return to ourselves and our relationship with Hashem. In that relationship, the most important one, and all the important relationships of life, our marriages, our family and beyond, vulnerability is absolutely critical. It is not a weakness. It is a strength. Indeed, we cannot, says Brown, connect with other people unless we express a vulnerability. If we are perfect, have nothing wrong with us, there's nothing that needs fixing, we don't need the other. Not Hashem. If we're independent of Hashem and don't need Him in any way, then we're wasting our time in the Yamin Noraim. If we don't feel that our lives are dependent on the judgment of Rosh Hashanah and of the Yamin Noraim, if we don't feel that our fate and life hangs in the balance and there's a certain imperfection in ourselves that needs perfecting, then what are we doing during this process? So too in all human relationships. If we don't need the other, if we're totally independent and not interdependent, don't need our spouse, our children, or our friends for anything, then indeed we have no vulnerability. We cannot love them and they cannot love us because they don't fulfill anything deep within us, and hence they are irrelevant in our lives. And this is what the shofar of Elul is trying to, the broken sound of the shofar, to evoke and arouse within us that sense of Lev Nishbar. And I want to end and say, and so too, of course, the process in Unatana Tokef, where we talk about Adam Yesodom Me'afar, we say them Mashul Kecheres HaNishbar. The Baal Tefillah says we're like a broken shard of clay, we're a broken vessel. And I want to end and say what the Kotzker Rebbe famously said. He said, Ein Shalem Yoter Mi Lev Nishbar. There is nothing more complete than a broken heart, because a broken heart is not disheartened. It's an understanding that there's a part of ourselves that we need to inspire ourselves to connect with the other, to connect with Hashem, to repair within ourselves. So we're not brokenhearted, we are not disheartened, we are brokenhearted in the sense that we see that our heart needs to be perfected, we need to grow, we want to be better, we want to connect. And may we be awakened by the sound of the shofar of Elul to come into the Yamin Noraim with a deep understanding of the power and need of our vulnerability to connect with Hashem and to connect with those who truly matter in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.